This is Crosswise Training's first mini-webinar for YouTube, Humility and Successful Customer Interaction. I'm your presenter. My name is Abraham May of Crosswise Consulting. Feel free to contact me at abe@crosswiseconsulting.com. Thank you so much for taking the time to view our video. Subscribe to our channel for more mini-webinars in the future. You can also follow Crosswise Training on Twitter for future video announcements and training tips. Visit crosswiseconsulting.com/training to see how we can help your company build a successful training program. And visit crosswiseconsulting.com to see what other areas of your business that we can help. Feel free to like this video if you enjoy our presentation, or comment if you have something to add to help us make a better webinar for our viewers in the future. To get started, let's talk about the boss. Everyone has one, and they all have a few things in common. Firstly, their wants often do not line up with your own personal wants. Also, their satisfaction is a prerequisite to your own success. And lastly, you cannot fire them. It invites the question, who is the boss? Depending on your previous pop culture experience, you may think you have a good idea of who the boss is. But I assure you, the answer is much less specific. To find our answer, let's look at a quote from a man who has had a decent amount of success in his field. Walmart founder Sam Walton once said, "There's only one boss, the customer, and he can fire everybody in the company from the chairman on down simply by spending his money somewhere else." It's a useful reminder of where the balance of power in every company truly resides. So now you know that the customer is the boss. So what does that mean? Well, just as you would ask for a raise or promotion from your supervisor by pitching how it will benefit them, you must take the same attitude into your customer interactions. So let's ask ourselves some questions. Do your customer interactions truly prioritize customer satisfaction above all else? Do you enter into every interaction with the assumed notion between you and the customer that their satisfaction is your main goal? And do you understand that your customer satisfaction is the primary indicator that you are successful? If not, you may not be giving the boss his or her proper due. It's a good time to remember that the nature of your customer interaction should be irrelevant to the attitude that you bring to it. Whether the interaction is customer-initiated or company-initiated, whether you're trying to make a sale, provide support, or simply increase your networking opportunities, all of these interactions should have the same goal. How can I meet your wants to benefit us both? Now I'll be selfish for a moment and discuss a problem that I have with terminology surrounding customer service. I don't often futz around with language, but it does bother me when people refer to customer wants and desires as customer needs. Your customers are literally the only reason that your company exists, and they're the only reason that you have a job. They deserve better than simply having their needs met. I think that there's good reason that you don't see any bread and water depots around anymore. Let's talk about some of the pitfalls that can get in the way of you providing service with your customers' wants in mind. The first is policy. I believe that we've all had the pleasure of dealing with a customer service employee who possesses an encyclopedic knowledge of their own company policy, but no interest in your success. It's important to remember that all customer policies are put in place to ensure customer success, even if they don't seem that way at first glance. For example, a clothing store might have a strict return policy, but it keeps their prices competitive, and it keeps plenty of employees on their sales floor to help. Also, a restaurant might stop serving alcohol to patrons who have had too much with their safety in mind. If a policy isn't made with the success of customers in mind, it's a bad policy. Your customers understand this as well. It will be easy for them to tell when you're hiding behind a policy just to ignore their wants. If you've had issues where customer wants conflict with company policy, the best way to address them is by examining the policy and offering alternatives. Your first option should be to consider the customer request. Does it truly conflict with the spirit of your company policy? If this policy can be broken in this instance with no harm done to customers in general, don't be afraid to make an exception. If making an exception to the policy would harm customers in general, and you simply cannot make the exception, make sure that your customer knows that you regret that you can't make the exception. However, you should avoid memorized sympathy lines like, "I understand your concern," or "We value your business, but." Not only will this not provide any solace to your customer, it will make you appear disingenuous, and it will also make it clear to them that you came into the interaction fully prepared to deny their wants. Instead, make a concerted effort to fully understand their wants and where they're coming from. By taking a legitimate interest in their wants, they will understand that you're on their side, even if you have to work with them to find a different solution than they had in mind. When you're explaining a policy conflict, don't quote the rulebook. Your company's policy is for internal use. Your customer has no interest in the letter of the law. Instead, explain why the policy is in place to protect customers. After all, the policy is in place for the customers. The only valid reason that a policy cannot be broken for a customer is that it harms customers in general. The final and most important step is to find an alternative solution that satisfies their wants while not conflicting with company policy. Another trap that's easy to fall into while dealing with customer interaction is overemphasizing profit. You often hear that profitability is the ultimate goal of any business, but this is a wrong-headed way to view your business's purpose. A good way to think about it would be, profitability is what a business needs, not what a business does. I like to think of it like breathing. No one wakes up in the morning, sits up in bed, and makes the firm decision, "I'm going to breathe all day today." It's something that you just do. And when you focus on customer satisfaction, your customers are happy and profitability takes care of itself. That leads us to the main profitability trap, abusing your customers' trust, maybe to make a few extra dollars via unnecessary upselling or something similar like that. When you squeeze extra money out of a customer just for the sake of it, you eliminate all the reasons your customer has to remain your client. You're eliminating any kind of cost effectiveness and also any kind of positive experience that they have. When your customer finds themselves stuck with a product with no value to them, any accumulated goodwill will evaporate and your competitor will likely get a phone call. But that doesn't mean that upselling is necessarily a bad thing. Your company's products are something to be proud of and they bring value to your customers, as long as you remember to upsell for the right reasons. Not to increase your profitability strictly, but to ensure your customer success and increase your profitability naturally. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching our video. Remember, this is just a taste of the knowledge that Crosswise Training can share with your company. Remember to subscribe to this channel for more mini webinars as they become available. Follow Crosswise Training on Twitter for video announcements and more training tips. Visit crosswiseconsulting.com and crosswiseconsulting.com/training to see the services that Crosswise can provide to your company. And comment on this video to share your own customer service stories and just tell us how we can do better next time. Thank you so much for joining us once again, and we'll see you next time.